Hi, my name is Gudrun from GE Designs. Welcome to our live show, Tipsy Tuesday. Hello, everyone, and welcome to our show. Thank you for being with us here on this Tuesday. And even though you're watching on Facebook or YouTube, make sure you're subscribed for future shows and shenanigans. So make sure you say hello to Mr. HP, my producer.
Hello.
How you doing? It's been a busy weekend, a busy week already for us, but we're so happy you are here. Make sure you stick around to the end of the show because we have a giveaway at the end. You have a chance to answer our giveaway question. And we love some feedback throughout the show, so ask questions, give us some thumbs up, hearts. And then especially tell us about if you participated in our Jolie Quilt Along this past Saturday.
Times.
It feels like it was yesterday.
Yeah.
Time just flies.
Flies.
It was really a great day. I actually have behind me my version of Jolie. It's hanging sideways, by the way. But this is my version of Jolie that I was making throughout the videos. And I started another one. Yeah, I started another one. Yeah, things happen. Like, I get excited when I'm doing a quilt along and everybody's, starting their own. I get excited. I want to be a part of it. So who knows when that one will be finished. We've got a lot of other things to do. But let's hang. Is there something hanging behind you today, Mr. HP? Ooh, dangerous.
Dangerous.
Yes, we're going to talk a little bit about that, but we have some major things to show you today, some new programs and fun stuff. So just stick around, everybody. Let's start by announcing our winner from last week. Last week's show, my question for you all was, do you play an instrument? And our winner, randomly drawn from all your comments or your answers, is Robin Ring Kern. Congratulations, Robin. She says, played the violin for a while as a 5th and 6th grader, took piano lessons for a few years. Well, that's good. That's pretty awesome. So to continue on with piano lessons as you grow into adulthood, I think that's very, I don't know, it's very, you're very committed I don't know, life takes over when you when you get older, so that's great. So Robin, if you haven't done so yet, send us an email to help@gequaldesigns.com and we'll get you your prize right away for that gift card. So we talked a little bit about I was going to talk about Dangerous, the block of the month that we're going to challenge ourselves this year using our scraps. And as you can see, it's hanging behind Mr. HP. First block will go live next week on our Tipsy Tuesday show. It will always be the fourth Tuesday of the month that we'll have a new block. You can see all of the whole quilt. I did 2 colorways back then. I'm doing a third this year. And so you can follow along and learn all about it on our blog. Go to our website and go to blogs, and then you'll find the blog post about Dangerous. All you have to do is just go to our free patterns and purchase the Dangerous pattern, and then every month we will automatically upload that month's block. So 1 block a month, it's all good. But as you may have noticed, those pieces, can you put yourself on the screen now so they can take a look at those little pieces? So the whole quilt is all squares and rectangles, so no triangles, but they go down to, 1-inch finish, so 1.5-inch little squares. So with that being said, when we have so many pieces within a block and they're small, if our seam allowance is just slightly over or slightly under, it gets really challenging to have the block be the size that it's supposed to be. So I get so many questions when I say using a scant 1/4-inch seam. What does that mean? And so I thought I would reiterate, and so have everybody practice before we take off on our Dangerous journey. So my tip of the day is all about that. You can ask me questions afterwards, but pretty much think about this. Think about this, a scant 1/4-inch seam, or sometimes we call it an accurate 1/4-inch seam. We're not talking about measuring the seam. It is so that when we have everything sewn together, pressed, that the piece will measure exactly what it is supposed to measure, and that is, on each piece of fabric, there is a 1/4-inch taken off for seam allowance. Not more, not less. All right? So think about that as you move into taking a look at my tip of the day. The question I get a lot is, what is a scant 1/4-inch seam, and why do I have to have a scant 1/4-inch seam when I am piecing? Now, the scant 1/4-inch seam is not a specific measurement. I want to state that, and the reason is this is individualized for you and your sewing machine setup. But there are some tools in order to find that setting for you. Now, a scant 1/4-inch seam is not a measurement. What that means is when we have sewn our pieces and pressed them a certain way according to the pattern, now our pieces measure exactly what they're supposed to measure. So for example, we always cut our pieces with a 1/2-inch seam allowance, so a 1/4-inch on each side. So that 1/4-inch seam is not really going to give us the best results, because if we have a 1/4-inch seam, after we sew and press, your piece is going to be a little bit smaller. With a scant 1/4-inch seam, which means it's just a tad bit smaller than the 1/4-inch, when we sew 2 sides and press out, your piece in the middle is going to be exactly 1 inch, and that's what we want. So here are some tips on getting that set up so you can be consistent in that 1/4-inch seam. First off, of course you've heard of 1/4-inch feet for sewing machines. Yes, those can be helpful, but they're not really necessary because we can set our settings a certain way. Now, some folks like to use the flange feet, which has a little guide on them to guide you through. I just want to warn you, with all 1/4-inch feet, no matter what company they come from or what sewing machine, they are not always going to give you the perfect result. And partly it is because of where we individually guide our fabric. So whether you use these or just a flat foot, we can find that perfect setting for you. Another tool that we can use is the perfect piecing seam guide for you to use to find a spot to start with. But the key is always to test and practice until you have that guide set up perfectly. So here's how I do that. I just take a couple of scraps of fabric. I want to make sure that I'm cutting them with the same ruler. So I'm using one of the Stripology mini rulers. I'm just going to cut 1.5-inch strips. So I know 1.5-inch strips sewn together, that is going to be a 1-inch finished. So I have some strips here to practice with. So I'm going to just sew a white strip between 2 green, as I have done here. And so what we want to do is, if you already have what you think is a good setting on your sewing machine for that perfect scant 1/4 inch, you just want to lay these together and then sew that seam, press outwards, and then add the second one, sew and press outwards, so you end up with something like this. And then we want to just measure the center and see if from this seam to this seam, I like to use the center of a ruler, and you can really see if the lines are directly on that seam. That means that you have a perfect scant 1/4 inch seam already set. And so you will want to make sure that you are always consistent in where you guide that fabric up against that same foot you're using. Be consistent with the foot, be consistent with where you guide your fabric, and you'll be good to go. So a couple of things. I'm going to move over to my machine. So if you have a machine that you can inch the needle position over in very small increments, that is very helpful. But if you have a machine that really is not able to do that, I would recommend using the seam guide and using some kind of guide to attach to the base of your machine. So let's go over to the machine and take a look. Here I have my foot. I just like to use a regular flat foot because when I am guiding my fabric, I like to guide it up against the edge of the foot so that I don't see any fabric sticking out. And that I can do consistently using my machine. If you don't have a foot or a setting on your machine, you can also just start by using the seam guide. How that works, you have a little hole in the seam guide. You can put your needle through it. And then once you have the needle through it, you want to put your foot down, make sure it's straight. Put your foot down. And then that determines, you can see where the edge of the guide is. That is where what should be essentially your fabric. So your fabric, how it guides under the foot, should come exactly like this. So that is a gauge in how you can adjust from where to guide your fabric. Now, if you can move the needle over, you want to move the needle over to the right until you can guide that fabric up against the foot, whether it's this type of a foot or it may be if you have a foot that has a guide or a flange. What I would say about these types of feet though is be careful, because sometimes you can bunch the fabric up against the guide and that is not going to be consistently a scant 1/4 inch. Now, if you cannot move the needle over on your machine and you have to just have one setting, I would recommend using the guide. And then on our organizing stickers, we have these strips that will stick to the bed of your machine and they will not leave any residue on your machine, so they can be repositioned or whatever. So this guide, you can place that little marker right up against the guide, and then that will then act as the guide where to guide that fabric. So as you guide your fabric, you can use that to make sure that you always have that scant 1/4" seam. So once you have what you think is a good setting, it's time to sew those pieces together. Like I said, we're going to sew with what we think is the perfect scant 1/4". Press, repeat on the other side, and then measure. If we get to the right measurement, having that center piece being exactly 1 inch, you're good to go. If it's too big, that means that your seam is too scant. We need to increase the seam a little bit. If the center strip is too narrow, it's less than 1 inch, that means our seams are too deep and we need to adjust that way. And there it is. It's always a little bit hard to explain. People want to know what is the exact measurement. It is not an exact measurement because it's all about you, where you guide that fabric consistently on your foot, on your machine. So we could have the same setting, but I could get a scant 1/4" and you could not. It's all based on individual, where we guide that fabric. So find a spot where you can be consistent and go from there.
You ain't got no Janome.
We don't have a Janome. I have a baby lock. So my baby lock is what I showed on. They are similar to brothers, actually, if you were looking at the setup. Do you need to do the scant check again if you break a needle? No, you shouldn't, because breaking a needle is not going to move your needle. But what I can do, if you can move your needle over until you're on the right spot, what I can do on my machine, I can save that setting. So whenever I go to, I can just click on that saved setting and it's always going to start there. So I really, really enjoy that. Does the scant 1/4" matter which way you press seams or press open? So that's what I was going to continue on saying too. So whether you press to one side, if you press mostly to one side, then do that and measure. If you press open, do that. If that's what you always want to do, no matter what the pattern tells you to do, then do that and measure. So it can make a little bit of a difference because obviously folding to the side, pressing to one side is going to take a little more room, but it's still best to just do what you prefer to do at all times. So if you go back and forth, I mean, it's not going to matter a whole lot if a couple of seams in a block are pressed open and most everything else is to the side, to one side. But definitely if you always press seams open, measure that for sure. Now, the good thing is with a lot of the GE patterns, I have you kind of square up and trim everything up in the end. So usually we are not talking about this making a huge difference. But with something like Dangerous, where we're cutting little pieces and sewing little seams, something like the tilde patterns and some of my other patterns, it really does matter. And so it's really just good to get in that mode, kind of create that muscle memory of guiding that fabric always in the same spot so you stay consistent. So I highly encourage it. And then you just have to say, I got to practice, which means go in your sewing room and sew something as much as you can. So to say you gotta get that muscle memory going. So any other questions?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, Mary says, oh.
Yes, I did.
Yes, he did compose that, so thank you. Consistency is then all that matters. Yeah, pretty much. Once you have that setting and you measure it and it's good, stay consistent with that and keep it moving. Beautiful. So it's great to see that it finally clicked what that means, that scant 1/4", what that means. Okay, good.
Here's something. Hold on.
Thank you for the lesson. I have a mechanical machine, so this applies correct. I don't know what you mean by a mechanical machine. Is that not a computerized? If you can move the needle over on a non-computerized machine, that's great. I like to sew on vintage machines, so like my featherweights and 108 or 301s. Sorry, Singer is what I have, and so you can get 1/4" feet for those, and I do have that, but still, there's no way to guide the foot, so I do have it marked on the bed of my machine. So, because there is no way to move that needle over. If you have just a straight stitch machine that you can't really move the needle over, so then you would have to make your own guide and make sure that you have that set where you guide that fabric every time. Okay. Yeah, if you can't move, so mechanical machine means you can't move the needle. So yeah, so then you create your own guide with some kind of tape, either like the strips on our, you just want to make sure you're not using painter's tape because it can leave a residue, especially if you leave it on long. Some washi tapes don't. I have actually experienced where some washi tapes actually do leave a residue. It's all based on how long you leave it on that surface. All right. Is that good?
That is good.
Love it, love it, love it. So that's exciting. So everybody's homework, if you're doing Dangerous with us, is this week is check in your scant and practice. Yeah, isn't it great? You can just tell whoever is in your household that Gudrun told you to practice. All good. All right, so we had our wonderful Jolie quilt along this weekend. On Saturday, we had people from all over the world sewing at the same time, and it was just great. So we're just getting a lot of posts about, tops being finished, and I know this just took place on Saturday, but some folks already posted their quilts or their quilt tops. We are going to have another slideshow later when we gather more quilt tops. So please share your quilts in our Facebook group, Gudrun's Quilt Crew. But I thought we would just kind of celebrate the ones that got it done or got a little one. Mostly they are smaller, but to inspire you and show you a few of those tops that got finished. Beautiful, beautiful. And thank you again, everybody that took part in the Jolie Quilt Along. Now, those of you that missed it, you can definitely still join in. Jolie is still available now on our website as a standalone PDF pattern with videos. So it's a whole package, videos and the pattern. So you can definitely go make one. It's a great one. We had so many great colorways started, so I cannot wait to see all those gorgeous quilts get finished. And lots of options of playing with layouts and stuff.
Where'd you get that name?
Jolie?
Yeah.
Well, the block is kind of based off of a block from a book that I did. Well, it was Stripology Mixology 2. And so I have a quilt in there that's squares, similar, and that quilt is called Jojo, because it was named after my first grandson, Johan. And so then I was playing with it to create rectangles, and I thought, since it is a play on that first one, I should add my second grandson's name in there, whose name is Leo, or Leo, how we pronounce it. And so we put it two together, Jolie.
That's cute. Awesome.
Yeah, and it's a unique name. Thought it was good.
Are there any Jolies out there?
Yeah, somebody said, maybe not spelled like this, but because somebody told me it's so great to have that, because I always have to tell people it's not Jolene, no N, Jolie.
Okay.
I love it. Well, I told you at the top of the show that I was going to be showing you something new and exciting, new programs, and let's kick off and reveal our first one. We have a brand new subscription club joining the other two that we have, which is Goody's Bundle Club, which is a full 12-piece half-yard bundle delivered to you every 3 months, so 4 a year, quarterly. And then we have our Goody's Color Club, which is all basics based on one color delivered to you monthly. Now we are launching this new one, and this one is called Goody's Little Bundle Club. So what is Little Bundles? Well, this one is based on, we call this our version of a charm pack, but much better because it's more fabric and much more versatile. So this club will be every other month, so it's bi-monthly. So throughout the year, it's 6 different shipments. And we will be giving you all kinds of information. But let's take a look at what is a little bundle first. So I wanted to show you here how it will be packaged. This one, this colorway is just an example to show you. So you will get 12 different fat 12s. So what's a fat 12? It's 6 inches by 21 inches. So just like this here. So 6 inches and then the half a width of fabric. So, or approximately that. What that does, so you would get 12, there's 12 different fabrics in this size. And what the benefits of that is that you can take these fabrics, you can pre-wash them if you prefer to pre-wash your fabrics, you can starch them, do whatever you want and not have to worry about them shrinking. And then you can cut them into 5-inch squares, for example, which will make actually a bigger than a charm pack because you would get 48 squares out of this versus 42 on a regular charm pack. And this one is already, the bundles are already going to be balanced, coordinated, and so you wouldn't get any imbalance in your fabrics. But beyond that, you could cut this into strips. So this would amount to what is 12 2.5-inch strips, for example. You can cut rectangles. You can do, it's more versatile to use than just a 5-inch square charm pack. So what we're going to do with this club, of course, every time you will get a little insert in your package too to give you some inspiration. So here is the cover page. We'll put that on the screen. And you will see that this is just the mock-up, so don't be expecting this one in your first shipment. This is just a mock-up. It will say the month, obviously, the name of the collection. And then we always have, just like we do with our bundle club, we have like a coordinated fabrics pull. So we will give you options for what would work great as a background. If you wanted to use a background, what would be great for borders or bindings, or a great accent color to bring in. So you can see those 4 fabrics. There will be a QR code where you can scan it and take it right to that page where those are listed. And then also on the back, you will have some inspiration. So we always are going to have a little pattern made up in that particular fabric, actually sewn and photographed, and we will list with you what other fabrics we use to finish it. But there's also going to be another option. So for example, in this example, we have the Fresh Cut Topper, which is a Quiltology Go project, but you can definitely use the little bundle for it because it's using strips. It's using 2-inch strips, so you can cut a lot from that. So on top of that, we have some quilting ideas that work great for those smaller projects that we will list, and then there's always a coupon at the end. So the little bundles now on our website are actually listed with a 1/4 yard of fabric. So we started selling these a couple of years ago because I wanted an option for all of my little patterns. And so this way you can get 48 squares, which works so much better when you're putting together a runner that is blocks. These patterns are all written for runners, but of course you can do whatever you want with them. But they are $19.95, those bundles, the little bundles on our website currently, because they have that 1/4 yard of coordinating fabric in it alongside the Fat 12s. We are going to be moving that out because then you're not stuck with it. You can do so many more things. So the price for how they will be $16.95. However, the subscription club, each shipment is only $14.95. And I just think that's a really fantastic price to keep throughout. We will ship it on the 1st of each month, so it'll charge to your card on the 1st of each month. And for this one, if you have been a subscriber for our Big Bundle Club, we try to do no seasonal fabrics in the Big Bundle Club. For this one, we may include just a little bit of seasonality if we find a collection that's just really awesome for that season, without being too specific, without being too holiday, but maybe there's a fall-inspired one, maybe there's a winter-inspired one, things like that. So just having that variety, we try to do lots of different varieties, so ranging from traditional fabrics to novelty to very classics to modern. And so we try to kind of give you the gamut and something that's going to really work well for smaller projects. So we wouldn't be picking anything that has really extremely large print. Always in there, we try to pick the ones that would work well in our little patterns and smaller projects. So, so that is our little Goody's Little Bundle Club, a new subscription club every other month. So if you have any questions, so like I said, $14.95 a month, and then plus shipping, which we were testing that out. It's going to range kind of around, for domestic shipping, around $5, landing on either side based on where you are in the States. And then, will there be a book featuring the little bundles in the future? You never know. Hang on, Carolyn. But I think this is so exciting. I'm having so much fun picking out the fabrics. So we will still always keep them a little bit of a secret, so those that are subscribers can be excited when they get that little package in the mail. And then we will reveal it, of course, on a show afterwards. But the inspiration is really what's great, to actually get to see the projects made up in those fabrics, and that will just inspire you to take it all kinds of directions. So when is the first one out? So the subscription product is open now, so you can sign up. We do have a very limited number of spots open. That's always how our subscription clubs work. Limited spots open. You can cancel anytime, but that price point, you know what? It's a great one to lock it in. And so we have just a few spots, and the first one will ship April. April 1st is the first one. And then it'll be June, August, October, December. Always on the 1st of the month, we try to process that shipment and get it out the door. All right. And somebody said, this is a great way to use some Color Club. Exactly. So pulling those Color Club colors to work with these bundles, you can use the little ones for the prints. And people have been asking me so much about, smaller projects. So then I think this is going to be a fabulous addition to our subscriptions. So there it is, Goody's Little Bundle Club. Now, you think I'd leave you hanging without knowing what to do with these projects, with these fabrics? No, we have a second one, a second launch. Something that works together, but they're completely separate. Okay? Don't get them mixed up. We have a subscription for fabric. And now I'm very excited with the popularity of our Quickies Club, which is our pattern and video class club, where you get a new video class almost every month or so. I've gotten so many questions on if I have any video classes that focus on smaller projects and that focus on using the mini Stripology rulers. So the Stripology Squared Mini and Stripology Quarters Mini. And honestly, I've never done video classes for my little patterns. There are quite a few out there already. So you asked, and you shall receive. So here it is, our Stripology Little Pattern Club. So this one is just a project club. So this is all digital because every release, which will be bi-monthly, will be a new pattern, and they are brand new patterns. So completely exclusively new. You get a pattern and then a full video class of me showing you how to make this. And so this one is just, I mean, I'm so excited about it because if you are familiar with my little patterns, they're all based on 5-inch squares. And 5-inch squares are little bundles, And so they are all written for table runners. But of course, you can take those blocks and build whatever. You can make a topper. You can make pillows. You can make, placemats, bags, or even keep making blocks and make a quilt. They are so versatile, but they all focus on the Stripology squared mini ruler or the quarters mini ruler. So, and I will be using both interchangeably. Sometimes I'll show other options. So it's going to be very similar to what I do for Quickies Club. So the project club is going to release a little pattern and a video class every other month, like I said. Just like other video classes, you'll have access to the videos forever and watch them however many you want. And then there's the PDF download as well. So I do always include some fun alternate options, like different layouts, maybe some alternate colorings, and things like that. And you will receive also a coloring page so you can play with it before you actually decide on your fabrics. So the classes will be, like I said, released bi-monthly. And so we have a whole plan for the first year. I have all of the patterns out. And so you could pick and choose to make them individually, just like the Quickies Club. So the individual classes will release, if you want to put up like one of those, like the first pattern that we're going to do. Can you put up the individual, the little Inga cover? Yeah, there it is. So this is, for example, the first one is Little Inga. And so that class could be purchased individually. They will be priced at $14.95, and that includes the pattern and the class. But you would have to wait for that particular release to purchase that one. So if you would like to get them all 6, of course, we have a special launch offer right now, which gets you almost 50% off of all 6. So of course, it's a limited time offer. The first class will release on April 10th. And so that's when that price goes away. So let's take a look. When you purchase the whole thing, you will get this right away. This PDF will tell you the schedule on the releases and what the projects are. And so we start with Little Inga, and then we have Little Billie, Little Dina, Little Katrina, and then we have Little Winnie and Little Lilo. So this is our first year, every other month. So the first one releases April 10th. The last one releases February 10th, 2026. So it's completely doable. These are smaller projects and something for those that just enjoy the smaller pieces. And honestly, the little patterns with the rulers, they are such great practice in small bits. So I just want to say, if you want an excuse to practice, there it is. So let me show you a couple of the projects. I have the Little Inga. Actually, a Little Inga was one of the patterns for our retreat last year. So some of you may have made it already. And so here is Little Inga. And then the second one, which will release in June, is Little Billie. And I have one made up here. Now, before each release, if you purchase the whole program, before each release, we will send you an email that will give you the fabric requirements, anything beyond just a charm, just the 5-inch square. So maybe you need a border, maybe you need a background or an accent fabric or whatever it is. So we'll give you the fabric requirements and also some inspiration because we will always be making a few of the same pattern in different colorways. So we're excited to be able to share that with all of you before the pattern actually releases and the class. The other thing I wanted to mention is that Little Pattern Club is going to be exclusive to our Stripology shop partner stores. So we will only have these patterns available in the club like this with the video classes, but these stores will have the printed patterns available exclusively for a limited time, and they'll be offering some of them actual in-person classes. So if you wanted something hands-on, they will be offering that, something that we are offering them exclusively for the Little Pattern Club. And if you wanted to know if you had a store close to you, go to our website under Stripology. We have a link there that says Stripology Shop Partners, and we have a whole map and listing all our partner shops. But that is something that you will hear more about as we really kick it off after that April deadline. So very exciting. So check that out. Any questions? The special price, oh, sorry, I didn't even say it. So the individual classes will be $14.95. The special price for all 6 is $44.95. Yeah, it's 50% off pretty much if you do that. Still, and even if you did Inga already, it's still a good deal. All right, any other questions? I see a lot of excitement. So that's very exciting. Thank you. So the runners are not going to be the same size. The key for the little patterns, they all start with 5-inch squares. So you can use, if you have charm packs, they all start with 5-inch squares. But of course, the little bundles, you can cut your 5-inch squares. So the runners are different. Sometimes you can add borders. Sometimes I'll have a border on it just because I feel like it needed it. Others, I don't have a border, but you can always add it. And you can always make more blocks if you wanted a certain size of a runner. So, but they're all similar, all pretty similar in size. The difference in size usually is based on how many seams are in each one. And if there's background fabric, then they can get bigger blocks and things like that. So there's going to be quite a bit of versatility in it. Any other questions, sir? And like Janine said, yes, it's going to be a great way to practice using those mini rulers. They are so great for stuff like this, and you can really do really intricate things easily with those rulers. Do both go live after the show? Yes, both products will be live after the show. I forgot to mention that. Thank you for reminding me. We always do that with new releases. Just sit back and enjoy. It'll be live after the show. All right. Love the mini ruler. Love little patterns. So that's great. And it's just, honestly, I love doing those. By the way, you've heard about how I always have to have a leader and ender when I'm piecing my big quilts. Little projects, the little patterns are perfect to use as leaders and enders. And so and if you do them start to finish, they are a quick fun sew. All right, great to take along to if you have sew days with friends and stuff like that. All right, is it worth it for internationals? So the Pattern Club is all digital, so there's no shipping. For our Bundle Club subscription, the fabric subscription, we have it set to ship with FedEx International Connect, which is the best price. And we're not losing sight of it for 3 months if you ship with the Postal Service. It's trackable and we can really follow it. So that's how we have it set. And then, of course, if you are local to us, you can always ask us to pick up your package. Would the little patterns work with a squared or XL ruler, or do you need the mini ruler? You don't need the mini. The squared obviously would be even easier, and you can do it with the XL. It is just obviously a lot more cumbersome with a big ruler and small blocks. So I do show regular rulers as well, always. And in those patterns, I do include instructions for regular rulers. Is there going to be a strip along this year? We only done it 8 years in a row. You think we're going to skip it? Oh, no, no, no. But not yet. It's always closer to spring, April, May. So just hang on. How long will the video classes remain in your account? Forever. So if you, just like the Quickies Club, just like any video classes that you purchase from us, you have access to those videos forever. You can stream them and watch them as many times as you want. All right. Any other questions? Now for domestic shipping on the Bundle Club, the Little Bundle Club, that will be USPS because that is the best rate. And so because the package is light and we're still able to get a trackable service with the USPS. So just know that, but that is the best rate we could find. All right. So any other questions? I see lots of comments, lots of excitement. What about a mystery quilt? Well, let's do a couple of things at a time. We got 2 great things right now. And you know, this head is always spinning. We always got something planned. So just hang on.
More.
You know.
More.
More. But we want to space it out a little bit. So get everybody a space to breathe. But yes. When a retreat box is being shipped, they will ship right around the end of the month, you know, right around that time. So everybody will have them in time for retreat. Yeah, it's coming up fast. Coming up fast.
Do you ever sleep?
Sometimes. It's been off and on lately. We've had so much going on. So it's been an interesting few nights. But yeah, we do sometimes.
Someone said they're new here. What is a strip along?
Oh, a strip along is just a quilt along, but using strips. So I started writing strip patterns back in 2006, before the Jelly Rolls came out. And so I have a lot of strip patterns, and they were all published before the Stripology rulers came out. So we usually use the opportunity to take an older pattern and stripologize it even further, and just using up our scraps and stash of 2.5-inch strips and make a quilt together. So just stay tuned. Just wait a couple months, okay? Couple months. All right, I have some great new fabric to show you. First up is a line from Andover that is really nicely coordinated. This one is called Greenleaves. And so I love this because it's evenly split into lights and darks, and just really nice calm colors. Starting off with this print, I love this leaf print. And this kind of a charcoal, not a black background, but charcoal. And nice spaced tossed leaves. Are you going to zoom it in here a little bit for us? I'm not supposed to tell you when he's coming over to adjust. It's just going to happen. There it is. Yeah. The next print is a little bit darker black with some beautiful green squares on point.
Like seeing the roughage.
No, it's just nice to see it a little closer, because these patterns, or this line particularly, is a great one for smaller things because it's all smaller prints. Beautiful fern leaves. I just love this one. This is so great. And it has that gray in the background. Beautiful. Going into a little bit different shade of green, which I love when they mix that. So have a little direction in it, but not too much. It's very subtle, and these little dotty flowers. We have that same leaf print in the green. And there we can see a little bit more even lime green coming into it. And then our 6 dark is going to be just a textured green color with layers of green in it. And then we have the creams. So we have 6 darks and then 6 lights. So starting with this vine that has the green vine throughout. And that same favorite of mine leaf print in the cream color. Kind of a cream, almost taupe which I really love, nice and warm. A little bit lighter tone, as you can see in the base, but it has that charcoal pattern to it. And then we have the squares, on point squares with the lime green in it. Another shade, as you can see. And we have that same print that we have in the green with nice light green pattern on top. And then we have that same texture in the off-white cream color. So beautiful, beautiful. We have some fabrics that I pulled. For the lighter tones, you want to stay a little bit kind of, should I say dirty? This is Grunge Roasted Marshmallow, so it has just a little bit of texture of tan, a little bit of gray. Love that in there. And then Dry Brush in the taupe color, which is a nice creamy texture and color. And then let's do some of the greens. Bringing in a kind of a shade variety. We'll have grunge. This is a new grunge color. It's called Grunge Vert. And I really actually like that. It's a nice medium green. And then for more of the olive tones, Spotsy in the moss green is great. And then I decided, because there are different hues of green, this is Dry Brush Dusty Green. Has a little bit more brighter and more blue versus more yellow in it. And then a Bumbleberry's New Forest Green that has kind of different tones of greens. And if you wanted something extra dark, I chose Grunge Evergreen, which you could also use as an accent because it stands out. It's a little bit darker, but a nice color. And then I pulled some grays and blacks for the darker tones. So this is Dreams in the dark gray, which works really nicely with some of these grayer tones, like this print. Spotted Ink has light specks in it, which I really like in here with this mixture. And a darkest black would be the Seedling in the Licorice, one of my favorite fabrics ever. I use it so much. Such a versatile color. I pulled one just if you wanted a third, like a color that would give you some accent, but without being too out of the blue. I would go for something like khaki, or even you could go darker brown in here, but something that is going to give you some contrast, but still blend in very nicely. So this is Greenleaves by Andover Fabrics. So that is our fabric today. We have lots of stuff coming into the warehouse these days, so we'll have a lot more to share with you. But I wanted to remind you all that we are going to Quilt Con. We are headed out tomorrow. Some of our team is already there. The trailer has arrived. So if you're coming to Quilt Con, booth 818, we will be there. We are flying out tomorrow. And like I said, I have a lecture on the stage on Thursday and Friday morning, same lecture, 10:30. So come and see us. Come and see us. I saw there were some questions, more questions about clubs. Oh, this new one is that I just showed is called Greenleaves. Greenleaves. I did want to mention that because of next week being Quilt Con, the following, so we will have, next week, because I am staying in Phoenix for a Stripology instructor certification. So our Tipsy Tuesday next week will be on a Wednesday. And Mr. HP has to drive the trailer back to Minneapolis. So there's a couple things. So we couldn't figure it out to be back by Tuesday, but we'll have our Tipsy Tuesday show. It's going to be on a Wednesday. So Dangerous is going to be on the Wednesday. Okay, the first block. Okay. Any other questions? Nope. Great. Well, let me give you a giveaway question. So all you got to do is answer this question to be entered into our giveaway for a $25 gift card. My question is, what is your favorite way to unwind after a long day? I mean, I'm thinking half of you are going to say sewing. That would be me. Yeah, that would be me, or just chill. To unwind, chill on the couch with something, watching something completely that makes my brain just inactive.
Let's be honest. This is what it is.
This is what it is? Oh, for you, that's scrolling. Yeah.
You too. Stop. Scroll.
Yeah, or just go so like feed fabric through a machine. That is just the best way.
How about just go to sleep?
Yeah, that works too. So let us know in the comments, and you'll be entered into our giveaway, and we'll announce the winner on next Tipsy Tuesday, which is Wednesday, February 26th at 4 p.m. Central Time. But tomorrow morning, we have a One Yard Wednesday show at 9:30 Central. Happy Friday will be this Friday as well, February 21st at 12 Central, live from Quilt Con. So we'll at least have little tidbits. I don't know yet if the time difference is going to mess up our Happy Friday time because I have a lecture that morning. We'll see. Yeah, maybe you'll just get a bit of my lecture. Who knows? And then we have a Perfect Pair show next week. Not this week. It'll be Thursday, February 27th at 9:30. So lots to go next week. So we'll have One Yard Wednesday in the morning, Tipsy Tuesday in the afternoon on the Wednesday, February 26th, and then it'll be Perfect Pair and Happy Friday. So 3 days in a row next week. Well, I hope you will join us for any of those shows. Maybe if you're going to be in Phoenix, we will see you face to face. Can't wait. But thank you all for watching today, and we'll see you next time. Bye, everybody.
It's the place to stay. GE Designs got the Stripology way. Quilting with the beat. You feel that heat. We're the rulers of the strips. Every inch so neat. Lay your fabric here. Lay it right here. Cut it right there. Cut it right there. Precision in the rhythm can't help but stare. From morning to night we could and we can. Every quilt a masterpiece. Nothing can compare. Of the Stripology, feel that vibe. GE Designs where precision is our vibe. Cut it, slice it, make it so right. Quilters paradise, sewing in the moonlight. Measure once, cut twice. That's the funky rule. Stripology magic, yeah. It's hella cool. Turn that fabric loose, make it strut and stroll. We're jamming with the quilts in control. Oh, everybody now. Lift up those strips. Feel the stripology. Adding flair to your life. From edge to edge. We groove through the night. Sew it up, show it off with a glow your sight. The Stripology, feel that vibe. GE Designs.